The scene unfolds with an officer approaching a man in a quiet public area, casually asking for ID. It seems routine, until the man calmly responds with, "Am I required to show you that?" From that moment, it's clear this won't be your typical exchange. The officer, caught slightly off guard, tries to assert authority, but the man holds his ground, politely yet firmly questioning the legal basis of the request. What follows is a tense back and forth, where knowing your rights becomes the most powerful tool in the room. The officer's tone shifts as he realizes this isn't someone who can be easily intimidated. But how far will this go? As the man stands his ground, more officers arrive, raising the stakes. The cameras are rolling, and the tension is thick. Who will back down first? Stick around for this eye-opening showdown that proves knowledge truly is power. The officer takes a step closer, his expression a mix of authority and unease. "We're just asking for your ID to clear things up," he says, trying to sound reasonable. But the man doesn't budge. "I'd be happy to comply if you can explain what law requires me to do so right now," he replies, his tone calm but unshakable. As the exchange continues, more details come to light. The man wasn't acting suspiciously or breaking any laws. He was simply walking through the area, minding his own business. Yet the officer's insistence raises questions. Why was he stopped in the first place? The scene grows more tense as a second officer arrives, standing off to the side with crossed arms. The man, still composed, asks again, "Am I being detained?" The officers hesitate, their authority quietly being tested in front of the camera and an intrigued public. The second officer steps forward, his presence adding weight to the situation. "We're not looking for trouble," he says, glancing at his partner, "but we need to confirm who you are." The man remains composed, his hands visible at his sides. "I've asked twice now, am I being detained, or am I free to go?" He repeats, his voice steady. The officers exchange a quick look, clearly uncertain about their next move. Meanwhile, a small crowd begins to gather, quietly observing from a distance. Among them is a woman with her phone out, recording everything. She whispers to someone nearby. He knows exactly what he's doing. The man notices the onlookers but stays focused, his calm demeanor contrasting with the growing tension in the air. The first officer finally responds, "You're not being detained, yet." The words hang in the air, raising the stakes even higher. What will happen next? The man takes a deep breath, standing his ground. "If I'm not being detained, then I'd like to go on my way," he says firmly, taking a small step back. The lead officer's tone shifts, more commanding now. "We just need to verify who you are. Refusing to cooperate isn't helping your case." The man doesn't flinch. "With all due respect, officer, the law doesn't require me to help make your job easier unless you have reasonable suspicion I've committed a crime." The crowd murmurs, the tension thick as more people pull out their phones to record. One bystander whispers, "He's got them cornered." The second officer steps closer, his hand resting near his belt. "Sir, if you keep this up, we might have to escalate." The man calmly responds, "Escalate for what?" "Asserting my rights." The officers hesitate, visibly conflicted. The crowd holds its breath, waiting for the next move. Just as the officers seem ready to double down, a voice cuts through the tension. "Officers, I'd like to clarify something." A man from the crowd steps forward, dressed casually but carrying an air of authority. "I'm a lawyer, and I couldn't help but overhear this interaction." The crowd stirs, their phones now shifting focus to this unexpected development. The officers exchange glances, their confidence visibly shaken. The lawyer continues, his tone measured but firm. "Unless you have reasonable suspicion that this gentleman is involved in a specific crime, You're in violation of his Fourth Amendment rights by prolonging this stop. The man at the center of it all nods subtly, as if reassured. The lead officer stammers, "We're just doing our job." But the lawyer presses on, pulling out his phone. "And I'm just making sure you're following the law. Should we review this together?" The balance of power shifts again, and the crowd waits, spellbound. The lead officer's face tightens as he realizes the situation is spiraling out of control. With the lawyer now involved, the dynamics have completely shifted. The second officer, clearly uneasy, leans in and whispers something to his partner. After a moment of hesitation, the lead officer finally steps back. "You're free to go," he mutters reluctantly, barely making eye contact. The crowd murmurs with a mix of relief and satisfaction, but before the men can leave, the lawyer speaks up again. "Officers, one last thing. Did you activate your body cams for this interaction?" The question hangs in the air, and the officers freeze. The lawyer's words expose another layer to the conflict, raising questions about transparency and accountability. The man walks away calmly, his head held high, but the crowd lingers, buzzing with energy. The officers retreat to their car, their authority shaken, while the lawyer stays behind, quietly exchanging thoughts with onlookers. The story ends not just as a triumph of rights, but as a call for accountability that leaves everyone thinking. As the man walks away, the tension in the air begins to dissipate. The crowd starts to scatter, many still talking about what just happened. "That was incredible," someone says, their phone still recording. The lawyer lingers briefly, watching as the officers regroup by their vehicle. His calm intervention shifted the tide, but his presence also left an undeniable mark on the scene. The man, now further down the sidewalk, turns back briefly. He raises a hand in a small wave of thanks to the lawyer, who nods in return. It's a quiet acknowledgement of teamwork, a moment where knowledge and courage stood up to authority. For those who witnessed it, this wasn't just about one man asserting his rights. It was a powerful reminder of the importance of understanding the law and holding those in power accountable. The video would later become a rallying point, sparking discussions about civil liberties and personal empowerment.